What's up, everybody? It's Zero Call from PunchDrunkSports.com, bringing you another episode of the show that I haven't quite yet named. I am narrowing it down pretty quickly. I have a couple of names in mind, so this will be named in the next couple of days. But what I'm going to be talking about today is the potential signings the potential departures of Leicester players. First of all, I want to talk about Riyad Mahrez potentially joining Barcelona, who I've been looking at him apparently all season and are apparently looking at offering £15 million for the guy. Now, I just want to say I think £15 million for a player who has been, without a doubt, in my opinion, the best player in the Premier League so far and should win Player of the Season. You know, he's scored and assisted 26 goals, 27 goals. That's amazing. He's led this Leicester team to really, play a place that we've never seen a team like Leicester get to. You know, they have really, really, really strong chances of winning the league at this point, and I really do think they will. And if they do, then I can't see how he's worth less than 30 million in the current market. You know, he's a tremendous player, and I don't see why Leicester would even accept £15 million, considering they have no reason to sell him. So, £15 million for Mahrez, I think there's just no way in hell that happens. I do think that it's very possible that he would sign for Barcelona, but he'd also have to realize that he's not going to go there to be a starter. There's no way he's breaking into the team past Messi, Suarez, or Neymar. So he would be a a secondary player there. So whether he would like that or not, or whether he'd prefer to stay at Leicester or go to a different team who's going to offer him first team football, I don't know. But at this point, I think it's a very realistic thing that Barcelona want to sign Mahrez. He's the type of the player they like. Whether they're going to want, I don't know, but I think it's very realistic. Next up, I want to talk about Kante apparently being sought out by Arsenal and Chelsea. Now, this is also a transfer that I could definitely see happening because Kante has been tremendous for Leicester. He's been a machine who does very, very well at the basics. You know, he concentrates most on the fundamentals, and that's what teams like Chelsea, who need to rebuild, and Arsenal, who are consistently weak, in important times. That's the kind of player they need. And I would definitely think that Kante is the type of player that they'd be looking at. And apparently Leicester are trying to give him a new contract in order to, sort of make it more difficult for Arsenal or Chelsea to sign him and at least get more money if they do try and if Kante does eventually decide that he wants to leave. And I think that it would definitely be possible for more likely to Arsenal, because I think that Chelsea, because they're not going to be qualifying for the Champions League, I don't see how they're going to be able to attract players, who have a lot of options. They're not going to be able to attract the big name players. Not that Kante is necessarily a really big name player, but he is going to have offers from other top clubs who will offer him, not just Europa League, but also Champions League. And, Leicester themselves are more than likely going to be in the Champions League, so why would you want to leave that when he has the chance to play in the Champions League and do well with the club that actually brought him up and brought him to this point? And I think it'd be really, really cool to see him play in the Champions League, and if Leicester can keep that kind of team, it'd be really fun to see. So I don't think, it really depends on how much they offer, how much money they offer him personally, but I think it's a very realistic transfer, mostly to Arsenal, a little bit less to Chelsea, but I think it's very realistic. Next up I want to touch on is the fact that Jamie Vardy's transfer release clause has been revealed. It's around £30 million. Actually, it is £30 million, not around £30 million. So if a big team wants to splash the cash on Jamie Vardy, who is 29, he'll be 30 years old next season, they're going to have to spend a big sum of cash on him. And I'm not really sure if that type of money is something that a team, like Chelsea or United or any other big team is going to want to spend on a guy that's 30 years old when you have young players who you can buy for about the same price, who have a lot more room to grow and have a lot more, there's a much bigger chance of them actually making their money back on the player if they do end up selling them, So I think £30 million is a lot of money for Jamie Vardy, and for that reason I think that teams like Chelsea and who have been linked with the guy, teams like Tottenham, I don't think they're going to be interested in buying him. I think he will stay put at Leicester, and that's really good news for Leicester. And I think at the end of the day, it's good news for Vardy himself, because I think that if he goes to a team who's a bit bigger, I don't think he's going to be a starting player. I think it will just be for the paycheck. And I think that even though he has come really well, he has done really, really well for Leicester this season, I don't think he's quite the level of player that the top teams are going to be looking at, especially at his age. That's about it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. Please subscribe, and I'll see you next time.